1. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. 2. Never give up work. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. 3. If you are lucky enough to find love, remember it is there and don't throw it away. We are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star, but we can understand the universe. That makes us something very special. Quiet people have the loudest minds. Life would be tragic if it weren't funny. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Even if there is only one possible unified theory, it is just a set of rules and equations. What is it that breathes fire into the equations and makes a universe for them to describe? The usual approach of science of constructing a mathematical model cannot answer the questions of why there should be a universe for the model to describe. Why does the universe go to all the bother of existing? For millions of years, mankind lived just like the animals. Then something happened which unleashed the power of our imagination. We learned to talk and we learned to listen. Speech has allowed the communication of ideas, enabling human beings to work together to build the impossible. Mankind's greatest achievements have come about by talking, and its greatest failures by not talking. It doesn't have to be like this. Our greatest hopes could become reality in the future. With the technology at our disposal, the possibilities are unbounded. All we need to do is make sure we keep talking. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious, and however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It surprises me how disinterested we are today about things like physics, space, the universe, and philosophy of our existence, our purpose, our final destination. Be curious. My expectations were reduced to zero when I was 21. Everything since then has been a bonus. The victim should have the right to end his life, if he wants. But I think it would be a great mistake. However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. While there's life, there is hope. I have noticed that even those who assert that everything is predestined and that we can change nothing about it still look both ways before they cross the street. I believe the simplest explanation is, there is no God. No one created the universe and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization that there probably is no heaven and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe, and for that, I am extremely grateful. One of the basic rules of the universe is that nothing is perfect. Perfection simply doesn't exist. Without imperfection, neither you nor I would exist. In the universe, it may be that primitive life is very common and intelligent life is fairly rare. Some would say it has yet to occur on Earth. I think computer viruses should count as life. I think it says something about human nature that the only form of life we have created so far is purely destructive. We've created life in our own image. The universe doesn't allow perfection. My goal is simple. It is a complete understanding of the universe, why it is as it is and why it exists at all. There is a fundamental difference between religion, which is based on authority, and science, which is based on observation and reason. Science will win because it works. Although I cannot move and I have to speak through a computer, in my mind I am free. If time travel is possible, where are the tourists from the future? When people ask me if a God created the universe, I tell them that the question itself makes no sense. Time didn't exist before the Big Bang, so there is no time for God to make the universe in. It's like asking directions to the edge of the earth. The earth is a sphere, it doesn't have an edge, so looking for it is a futile exercise. We are each free to believe what we want, and it's my view that the simplest explanation is, there is no God. No one created our universe, and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization. There is probably no heaven, and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe, and for that I am extremely grateful. The role played by time at the beginning of the universe is, I believe, the final key to removing the need for a grand designer, and revealing how the universe created itself. Time itself must come to a stop. You can't get to a time before the Big Bang, because there was no time before the Big Bang. We have finally found something that does not have a cause because there was no time for a cause to exist in. For me, this means there is no possibility of a creator because there is no time for a creator to have existed. Since time itself began at the moment of the Big Bang, it was an event that could not have been caused or created by anyone or anything. So when people ask me if a God created the universe, I tell them the question itself makes no sense. Time didn't exist before the Big Bang, so there is no time for God to make the universe in. It's like asking for directions to the edge of the earth. The earth is a sphere. It does not have an edge, so looking for it is a futile exercise. Although I cannot move and I have to speak through a computer, in my mind I am free. If time travel is possible, where are the tourists from the future? People who boast about their IQ are losers. The thing about smart people is that they seem like crazy people to dumb people. I'm not afraid of death, but I'm in no hurry to die. The downside of my celebrity is that I cannot go anywhere in the world without being recognized. It is not enough for me to wear dark sunglasses and a wig. The wheelchair gives me away. Not only does God play dice, but he sometimes throws them where they cannot be seen. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Never give up work. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. If you are lucky enough to find love, remember it is there and don't throw it away. I don't think the human race will survive the next 1,000 years, unless we spread into space. So Einstein was wrong when he said, God does not play dice. Consideration of black holes suggests, not only that God does play dice, but that he sometimes confuses us by throwing them where they can't be seen. You cannot understand the glories of the universe without believing there is some supreme power behind it. Ever since the dawn of civilization, people have not been content to see events as unconnected and inexplicable. They have craved an understanding of the underlying order in the world. Today we still yearn to know why we are here and where we came from. Humanity's deepest desire for knowledge is justification enough for our continuing quest, and our goal is nothing less than a complete description of the universe we live in. I regard the afterlife to be a fairy story for people that are afraid of the dark. A well-known scientist once gave a public lecture on astronomy. He described how the Earth orbits around the Sun and how the Sun, in turn, orbits around the center of a vast collection of stars called our galaxy. At the end of the lecture, a little old lady at the back of the room got up and said, "What you have told us is rubbish. The world is really a flat plate supported on the back of a giant tortoise." The scientist gave a superior smile before replying, "What is the tortoise standing on?" "You're very clever, young man, very clever," said the old lady, "but it turtles all the way down. So long as the universe had a beginning, we could suppose it had a creator. But if the universe is really completely self-contained, having no boundary or edge, it would have neither beginning nor end. It would simply be. What place, then, for a creator? Nothing is better than reading and gaining more and more knowledge. However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. Where there's life, there's hope. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet. It matters if you just don't give up. To confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit. If aliens ever visit us, I think the outcome would be much as when Christopher Columbus first landed in America, which didn't turn out very well for the Native Americans. What I have done is to show that it is possible for the way the universe began to be determined by the laws of science. In that case, it would not be necessary to appeal to God to decide how the universe began. This doesn't prove that there is no God, only that God is not necessary. The idea of 10 dimensions might sound exciting, but they would cause real problems if you forget where you parked your car. The human capacity for guilt is such that people can always find ways to blame themselves. I like physics, but I love cartoons. If there really is a complete unified theory that governs everything, it presumably also determines your actions. But it does so in a way that is impossible to calculate for an organism that is as complicated as a human being. The reason we say that humans have free will is because we can't predict what they will do. So remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious, and however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you don't just give up. Unleash your imagination. Shape the future. The increase of disorder or entropy is what distinguishes the past from the future, giving a direction to time. I'm not afraid of death, but I'm in no hurry to die. I have so much I want to do first. If you remember every word in this book, your memory will have recorded about 2 million pieces of information. The order in your brain will have increased by about 2 million units. However, while you have been reading the book, you will have converted at least 1,000 calories of ordered energy, in the form of food, into disordered energy, in the form of heat that you lose to the air around you by convection and sweat. This will increase the disorder of the universe by about 20 million units, or about 10 million times the increase in order in your brain. And that's if you remember everything in this book. Time and space are finite in extent, but they don't have any boundary or edge. They would be like the surface of the Earth, but with 2 more dimensions. One is always a long way from solving a problem until one actually has the answer. It is not clear that intelligence has any long-term survival value. Be brave, be curious, be determined, overcome the odds. It can be done. We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity. We cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted and overcrowded planet. Eternity is a long time, especially towards the end. Government works best under the glare of public scrutiny. Absent such scrutiny, abuses occur. Any physical theory is always provisional, in the sense that it is only a hypothesis. You can never prove it. No matter how many times the results of experiments agree with some theory, you can never be sure that the next time the result will not contradict the theory.